I'm resetting the image so that, or moving it so that it is a little more intuitive to you as the viewer than it is to me as the artist here. Also turned out the overhead lights, turned some lamps this way. Hopefully that won't result in a grainier image. Okay, so anyway, so I'm going to turn on that lockbox, and now I'll turn it off because it's got just a little bit clunky here. And I'm going to start filling in these areas, just where I'd throw in some shadow for keep things looking interesting. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to pick some red for the bandana, for the thing. I just, I like the color red with cat foot. It feels very swashbuckly. And I'm going to go ahead before I get very far and throw in where my dark shades will be, just so that I can kind of plan accordingly. Okay. I want to, anytime I can, I want to make sure that I have areas separated by changes in value. So I'm going to swing up here, throw that in, put that in there, and now that looks kind of okay. It's not exactly adhering to the way that light would adhere, but I'm worried less about naturalistic lighting and more about how it makes certain elements of the image pop. I am keeping lighting a consideration, but it's not at the forefront of my thought process while I'm working on this stuff. He's got a sash here. Does he have a sash? Dag, nah, but I didn't draw the underside of the sash, did I? I will operate under the assumption that he has no sash this time around. Hello? Hey, darling. I'm just doing a video. Alright, so I am going to make sure that he has a sash here, because otherwise it makes no sense that this thing is flying up. So I'm going to click back on my line art, select black, put my art at about 15 there, and there we go. So now I have the bottom part of a sash. So it's not my favorite, but it'll do. Okay, so now I'll go back in, throw that red in there. I don't know why his vest is all of a sudden so short. Well, I know, you were watching the previous thing. You saw where the mess-ups were. I don't have my lock on right now, so I have a tendency to go over, but there's also a good chance that I've missed certain elements. I don't want this butted up against this, so whoops. There we go. Yeah, that looks okay-ish. It's a little better. Okay, so now I'll go in and add just a little bit more line here. Because again, I'm not being particularly clear where the where this part is ending. The vest. Okay, there we go. Now, I think that looks okay. Oh no, it doesn't. Not at all. It's the downside with coloring in too close. I was trying to show the details, and now he just looks like a big zebra guy, with all these stripes and hodgepodges, and I'm gonna cut that down considerably. Even that might be a little bit much. I need to... I lied about not being concerned about the light source. That needs to be falling in the same place. That'll do. Okay. Now that I'm going underneath this, I will hit these little necklace doohickeys really quick. Should probably be a little more heavily saturated for being copper or whatever it's meant to be here. Throw a little bit of silver in there. I claimed a minute ago to try and keep the palette as unified as possible, but I'm wanting this to look like he's got a big fancy necklace rig going on. Throw in some brown for the strings. And there we go. I think that looks okay. Actually, you know what? No, I am going to use that brown because it'll pop better over the black there. Okay. Now he's good. This would clearly be behind this. Okay, and now I'm set to do the shirt. So I'm going to make a new shirt. First I'm going to save it. Then I'm going to make a new shirt, or a new layer below this one, so that I don't have to worry about butting up all over this one here. So I'm going to pick my, my sort of dark cream shade here. And I'm actually going to make that cream kind of overwhelming so far as the color goes. Well, I am missing something here. Let me see. Ah, this middle section. There we go. I don't like that last cut, so. That one's okay. Nope. Nope, that looks reflective. That's probably fine. Throw that in here, just a hint of white. And there we go. The white part is done. It also needs pants. Although I like the black pants, those are going to pull too far away from the fact that he's wearing boots, so. There we go. And I believe, unless I'm much mistaken, the cat foot is now mostly done, if not all done. Mostly done. Okay, throw in just a little bit of gray there. He's looking okay. And I think there's a couple more things to do. There's some gray behind that ear. Put a little bit of color on that gum. And then the gray of the sword. Now for the gray of the sword, because he's a predominantly warm character, I'm going to pick this nice warm gray so that it matches up with him better. I don't have any real cools on him, so it'll make it very easy to control his color if I want to play with it a little bit down the road. Whereas Montero, I'm going to make him mostly cool. I say that, but I also probably want to contrast these characters against the background. Although with the background of this one, I'm probably going to go a little bit more literal. So I think I will keep him cool. I'm going to take a quick break. My daughter Penny just got home from gymnastics, so I'm going to go see how she's doing because I haven't seen her yet this morning. Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to do Admiral Montero here. So I'm wondering, this is a relatively cool brown, so nearly a purple. Okay, so I'm going to combine these two layers, the shirt and the other one. So that part's done. Hey, there we go. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and drop in the dark shade there because, whoops, that brush is a little bit too big. I'm going to need to zoom in because I'm going outside the lines, as they say. The colors that I pick, whenever I did this, I did kind of some just flat basic colors. You know, red, green, whatever it might be. And then I made an overlay of those same colors, desaturated and skewed in one direction. I think in this case actually a little bit blue, even though I think of my my tonal aesthetic being more sepia. I think I pulled it in more of like an indigo direction, and I liked how it came out. I'll do a demo of that at some point, basically like how to come up with a limited palette. See, there we go. Okay. Whoops. Sometimes I'll accidentally hit the, oh, I did it with the yellow. Dag nabbit. Okay. Yeah, I'll make it work. So I accidentally clicked on the paint bucket over the black at one point and filled everything that was black in. But that is an easy enough fix, so when I'm nearer being done, I'll show you how to overcome that particular little issue. And there we go. Now that's such a market drop. That part's going to be... There we go. Okay, so now that part is done. And now he gets some nice silver buckles here. Oof. The angle at which I'm doing this is murder on my arm. I'm starting to get a little bit sore. Not usually the case when I'm working, but this is not usually the way in which I'm working. So I'm going to throw in just a little bit of dark value here and some of the in some of these details. And because this is meant to be metallic, because it's a little more close up, I'm going to throw a highlight in there too once I get to the point that this is done. Okay. This part clearly needs that. Okay, and now I'm going to throw in that little bit of highlighting that I mentioned. I usually don't use three hues on a color. One of the guys that I'm doing a studio with, Jason Horn, does, and they usually look pretty good, but I always feel like mine are a little bit haphazard at best. Okay, so now it's time for the fancy cream here. So let's make sure that all of this cuts off. Wait, oh, the upper part doesn't cut off, so that's the problem. Okay. That. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go behind this whole bit of business and hit all of these areas as best I can. Some of these, I forget what my intent with some of these were, whether it was to do color holds or not. I think that it was. Yeah, okay. Was it? Maybe. Sorry to seem so non-committal. I'm going to get my little Montero figure down again and look and see how this is done. Okay, so I'm looking at him now, getting a sense of it. So this is him again. And I believe that I just do a color hold here. So again, I've hit that lock button, but now I've hit it on the line art, which means that because I took the time to make my line art its own layer with nothing else on there, that I can do these nice color trappings again without ever worrying about those terrible flashing dotted lines that the wand tool gives you. Yeah, this is not looking too bad. Okay, so I'm going to go in over this and add significantly more because I really want this to give a sense of heavy embroidery. Oh, some of this was meant to be white, wasn't it? Tarnation. Okay. Actually, you know, in this particular instance, he's foreground. He's a little bit darker. If anything, I'm going to darken him up. So this part is probably okay. And you know what? I'm going to lose those fancy reflective bits entirely because I don't like those. Okay, so And this will look nicer when it's cut off too. Okay. And now, whoops. This part, I'm going to do the same thing, but make it lighter, make it the other shade. So here, there are only 3 shades being used. White, the light cream, and dark cream. So now I'm just replacing the dark cream over the white with the light cream. And hopefully that'll tie everything together nicely. Okay, so I need the dark cream again. Whoops, because I forgot to do this bit right here. Okay, now that's clearly not all that I need. One of the big negative for Photoshop 3, which is what I'm still using, is that I don't have the ability to turn off my pressure sensitivity with this pen. So I have to worry about making sure that I press down hard from the beginning to make sure that it doesn't, do these light bits. Although it's not giving me grief right now, which probably means it's broken, which for the moment is okay with me. Try not to butt up against the edges. I want it to feel like it is line art. That's just been held. That probably looks pretty good. And I left these open. I think I mentioned that in the earlier part, just because trying to do the color holds on them would likely be a pain. And I'm actually going to select these after the fact and change them from being on the line portion to where they're instead in the color portion, so that if I do color manipulation, I'll have an easier time of it. Okay, so now let me get rid of those clunky, non-light source based bits of reflective light. We all know these are metal. I don't have to show these faux reflections because they're clearly not the way that God intended metal to work. So, goodbye that stuff. Same thing over here. Okay, now I believe, unless I'm much mistaken, that this part is all done. Oh, I entirely forgot to manipulate this to the point that it needed to be, so that's my next step.